There he is. Perfect timing, Noel. Perfect timing. Woohoo! Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Let's go ahead and start the recording. Excellent. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us for today's Tourism Task Force meeting. We are so excited to see you all on this beautiful Wednesday. It's nice and warm here in Florida. I will tell you, Kirby is joining us from Texas, where she's trying not to freeze to death. But I so appreciate her being here with us, and I'm so happy to see all of you. So today's Tourism Task Force is a nice update from some area professionals on what's going on around us. This is, again, an opportunity to hear from the actual folks straight from their mouth what's going on. So we're going to hear today from Lori Beebe. She's the Director of Airports at Palm Beach International Airport. We're going to hear from Vicki Chouris. She's President and CEO of the South Florida Fair. We're going to hear from Noel Martinez, President and CEO of Palm Beach North Chamber, who's going to talk to us about ArtiGras, which just finished. Noel, you look really good for a guy who just had a big party. And then we're also going to hear from Bryce Sartory, who is the Manager of Corporate Partnerships at the Honda Classic. So this is a really interesting group of people to tell you a lot about what's going on. As always, we are recording this meeting and it will be available on the Chamber website. So if you want to go back and hear it again, or you'd like to send it on to some of your important tourism contacts, please feel free to do that. We're all going to keep you muted until we get to the question and answer section. After each of the speakers, we'll give you an opportunity to ask a question. So keep that in mind. And then if we have no questions, we'll just move on to the next speaker. We will do self-introductions at the end, because as always, I want you guys to have a chance to know who's in the meeting with you. And as always, we really encourage you guys to set up some appointments outside of this meeting. Get together for a Zoom cup of coffee. See if you can't help one another. Kirby and I have heard some really wonderful stories about people who've gotten together, hotels and attractions, and put together packages and things to benefit both of them. So this is just a springboard, guys. This is just an opportunity for us to connect you, bring you some expert advice, and give you an opportunity to make the connections so you can go on and help one another. So again, thank you very much for joining us. My name is Kelly Finelli and I'm the Membership Director. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Laura. Laura, would you like to, and for those of you who are new to the meeting, I generally don't do speaker bios in this meeting because I assume that most of you know who these people are. If you don't, you can certainly go to their organization's websites and learn a lot more about them. But these are all leaders, and I'm so grateful to each and every one of you for being here today. So Laura, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you.
Okay, great. Thank you for having me this morning. I have a very brief presentation. I know you have a packed meeting, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And hopefully I managed to do this without any major issues. Okay, can you all see my screen?
Perfect.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. The last time I think that I came to the Chamber was in September. It was a little bit different then, although we are continuing to see COVID-19 impacts on air travel. As indicated on the slide, COVID-19 continues to have severe impacts on the airline industry. Domestic airline passenger volumes remain down about 65%, and international passenger air volumes remain down about 75%. And as a result of this reduced passenger demand, airlines continue to reduce capacity in terms of available flights and seats. So you can see that some gains have been made since the March-April timeframe, but it is pretty flat right now. In terms of PBI for our fiscal year, which runs October 1st through September 30th, the total number of passengers declined by about 38% compared to fiscal year 2019. And the total number of flights declined by about 26% compared to fiscal year 2019. So you can see the pretty dramatic drop in passenger enplanements, and that's the number of passengers that are actually departing the airport. I don't know how well you can see this chart, but you can see in April, we actually bottomed out. We had about 14,735 enplanements, which means that's the number of people that got onto aircraft. That is incredibly low. Those numbers are continuing to grow, but at a very slow and steady pace. Airlines began adding some additional seat capacity at PBI in anticipation of our high season, which is late November through April, Easter timeframe. However, the pace of the recovery has really remained slow despite the additional seat capacity because of suppressed demand. We anticipate the decline to be for this fiscal year 2021 to be between 41% and 52% compared to 2019 in terms of the total number of passengers. And we anticipate a decline of between 26% and 33% compared to fiscal year 2019 in terms of the total number of flights. And you can see this is our 5-year trend. You can see in the March timeframe, February of 2020, we were at all-time highs. We do have seasonal dips. That's pretty normal for our airport. The summer months are a little bit slower, but you can see the summer months, it was a very steep decline in 2020. Now, it's not all bad news. We do have some positive news, or maybe I should use a different term other than positive. We have some good news. Although we have seen a decline in the number of flights and the capacity, we haven't really lost any carriers. We have one carrier who left the market. That was Silver Airways Express. They actually had very little service at the airport. The number of destinations have not been severely impacted. You can see that February of 2020, we had about 31 destinations, and February 21, we had about 28. And you can see that airlines are also continuing to add new service here. We just announced PBI Nashville service. That'll be commencing for seasonal service on March 11th. We also have expanded Denver service on United. That service has already started. So we're excited that we are continuing to see some additional flight destinations. LAX started in November. We were hopeful that that was going to continue as daily service, but the demand again has remained pretty depressed. However, they are continuing to serve that location a couple of times a week. We're optimistic that that service will grow over time. We just need to start seeing a little bit of recovery. So when do we think that our passenger volumes will be back to the pre-COVID-19 numbers? I've been consistently saying, and the airline industry is consistently saying, that it's probably the 2023 to 2024 timeframe. Now, you can see on this chart, there's the bull case and the bear case. And if you look at the bear case, you can see it's pretty flat in 2021. That's pretty much what we're seeing right now. Although I'm feeling a little optimistic that we're going to continue to see some incremental growth over the next couple of months. So in the interim, what are we doing? We're continuing to keep our focus on safety. As I mentioned the last time that we're here, that has been our number one priority. We've installed transmission barriers. We've enhanced our cleaning and disinfection. We received a Global Biorisk Advisory Council accreditation. We were the first airport in Florida to receive that, and I think the second airport in the United States. We also recently applied and received the Airport Health Accreditation from Airports Council International. We're continuing to provide safety messaging, signage, overhead announcements, and social media. We're also educating individuals about the developing mask requirements. We've had a mask requirement at PBI for quite some time as a result of the county emergency order. Recently, the federal government also adopted mask mandates for all airports. So we are educating folks on that as well. The consequences of not wearing a mask in an airport has become a little bit more serious. So it's important that we educate all of the individuals coming into the airport that you may be trespassed, you may be denied service, and you may be fined. So the federal government is taking the mandatory mask requirement very, very seriously. We're also continuing to conduct daily health screenings. And you may have also seen recently we announced that there will be an on-site COVID-19 testing center, which is consistent with what many other airports in the United States are doing. It will only be available to the traveling public and to airport employees. You have to be a ticketed passenger in order to receive that service. It is solely being provided on a voluntary basis for the convenience of our passengers. We're receiving pretty frequent calls requesting that service here. It's already provided at Fort Lauderdale, it's already provided at Tampa, and about at least 40 other airports throughout the United States. So it is something that our passengers are really looking for, and we should be able to be providing that service in the relatively near future. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here shortly. If anybody needs to take my telephone number or email, feel free. I'll leave that up for just a second.
So Laura, Ali has a question.
Sure.
Ali, do you want to ask your question? Unmute yourself. You can unmute yourself.
Yes, absolutely. Good morning. Yes, good morning. Can you?
Good morning.
Yes, Ali, we can hear you. Good morning.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you for the presentation this morning, Laura. I just was wondering. I know West Palm Beach has a heavy traffic with private airlines, private jets coming in. Have you seen an increase or decrease with the private jets?
So this is really an interesting story for Palm Beach. 60% of our traffic is, or operations, is private aviation, which is general aviation. We've actually seen an increase in general aviation over the several past months. So if you look at our total number of operations, for example, in the month of December, they were down about 39% as far as air carrier operations, but our general aviation was up 29%. So our total operations were actually only down 4.5%. The general aviation is good. It provides us a diversified revenue stream. And it's also showing that there's still a demand for air service, because there are business travelers that I've been speaking to, our FBOs, that are electing to fly on charter flights as opposed to flying first class or business class. So we are definitely seeing an uptick in the general aviation activity at the airport. And again, that's a good news story for us, because it does help balance out our revenue losses on the commercial side. Unfortunately, we do make a lot more revenue in terms of private or of commercial aviation versus private aviation, but it is a positive story for us in terms of private aviation.
Excellent.
Yeah, I mean, for the hotels, for us at the hotels, it's beneficial, because we do overnight the pilots and the crew members of the private jet. So that was all I wanted to know. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We also have a question from Felicia Goldstein, who is in Representative Frankel's office. And she's saying, can you tell us the cost for the testing before you get on a flight and how quickly the results are given?
So as I mentioned, it's fully voluntary. The testing center has not yet opened. It will be opening in the near future. The cost for the test will be $125 without insurance. However, they are accepting insurance, and most instances, it's my understanding that there isn't a copay. So they will be accepting insurance. It's Helix Urgent Care. You're probably familiar. They have about 5 locations in the South Florida area. The other nice thing is that they will also be providing other non-emergent medical services at the airport, which we didn't previously have. So if somebody gets off a flight and they're feeling, queasy because they have, travel sickness or something like that, it's just another resource that we'll have at the airport.
Excellent. Yeah, that sounds like a good plan to me. Well, thank you so much, Laura. Does anybody else have a question? I have to say that this is all very good news. I remember the last time you were here, it wasn't quite this fun a message to deliver, was it, Laura?
It's still, we've had some incremental gains. It's getting better. It's not like it was in April and March. I do think we're going to continue to see some incremental increases, and I feel really good about the fact that we haven't lost any of the airlines. Our newest, airline that started operating literally right before the pandemic started was Allegiant Airlines. They're still here with us. They're still hanging in. As I said, airlines are willing to test other markets, notwithstanding the strange situation that we're currently in. So I feel, pretty confident that once the demand starts to return, we're going to be very well positioned. The other thing, to keep in mind is, we do have a strong leisure component at Palm Beach County. So I think that fares very well for us, because right now, leisure traffic is pretty much all the traffic that's available. There isn't a lot of business travel right now. So I do think that we're pretty well positioned for the recovery. I'm hopeful we'll start to see a little bit more of a a quicker recovery than we anticipate. But I can tell you, had you asked me in March if I would have thought, realistically we would be this far down for this long, I would have told you no.
Yeah, I think we all feel that way. And I do think you're absolutely right. The fact that you haven't lost any of those carriers really speaks to the strength of our market. And I know if Jorge from Discover the Palm Beaches was here, he would be so happy to hear you say that. It definitely reinforces their message. We do have a very strong market. Yes, we are uniquely positioned to benefit as soon as the world starts to improve on more on a consistent basis. Thank you so much, Laura. I really appreciate your update and all of the work and time that you guys put into your presentation. So thank your team for us as well. Vicki, let's hear from you next.
Okay.
Vicki's on the road traveling and she still found time for us. She's talking from a hotel room. You are a real trooper, Vicki. I am impressed.
Well, I will apologize in advance if anything goes wrong here because I had to take off. I'm off my computer now and on my phone. So I'm doing this with my phone here. So, but I do want to say thank you for allowing me to be a part of this. In order for me to tell you where we are, I'm going to back up and tell you where we've been and how this all has affected us at the fairgrounds facility. First of all, in 2020, we had the second best fair in our history of the year. So that was in January of 2020. And then I get a call on March 9th to come down to the convention center and to listen to this thing that Discover's presenting where Dr. Alonso tells us about this new virus that's happening. And at that point in time, there were 54 cases in the US, 11 in Florida, and none in Palm Beach County. So we're all thinking, okay, well, we'll deal with this and this will be gone. So never thinking in January of 2021, we'd have to make some tough decisions on whether we were going to be able to operate or not. So, but as far as the fairgrounds facility, we closed our doors in March and we were dark until July. So as you can imagine, all the revenue that we had on the books for events to be held at the facility, we had to give deposits back to our promoters because that was the ethical thing to do. They couldn't hold their events. So we just went totally dark. And we have a staff of 55 people that fortunately, because we were able to secure the PPP loan, we were able to keep employed. So went into action where we just had everybody start cleaning, doing things and painting and making maintenance repairs at the facility, because when there's events there constantly, there's not time to do those types of things. So our operations team worked daily. Our administrative team, we worked remotely for quite some time. Everybody did. And then we started alternating and coming back into the office because in July, we planned to reopen our doors. So we went back we had to present to the county to get permission to be able to, go through some guidelines as many of the hotels and other facilities had to do, got approval to be reopened and that's what we've done. So we had 36 events that we canceled throughout this period of time, but now we're up and running and having events on a weekly basis. And fortunately, with the fair, we had planned back in November to have the fair, which normally attracts about 400,000 people over the 17-day period. So that had been our plan all along, plan A, let's have our fair. Well, then come October, November, we realized that really wasn't a responsible thing to do. So we scaled it back, made decisions, figured out ways to get people to the fairgrounds, but also decided to do things that when they were on the fairgrounds, they wouldn't gather in groups. So we eliminated a lot of our things like our parades and we eliminated our shuttle bus system and the concerts. So that was the plan for plan B. Then here comes the holidays and we've got tickets on sale and the holiday news headlines are all, okay, everything's horrible. And so we had to really take a strong look and say, what are we going to do? Are we going to ask that hundreds of thousands of people to gather at the fairgrounds and just, are we doing the right thing? So with lots of conversation with our executive committee and with our, we have a volunteer board of directors and lots of review of everything. And I will tell you, the team at the South Florida Fair, our staff is just amazing. They were willing to do whatever it took to make this happen. So we made the decision to scale it back and do what we called the mini fair. So the mini fair was held the same dates as the regular fair, January 15th through January 31st, 17 days. And we eliminated the big spectacular rides because we knew that those rides would cause, where they would attract the audience that may be a little bit more difficult to keep masks on and to make them behave just a little bit. So we had that happen. We eliminated that, and we had kiddie rides, and we had a lot of activities, and it was a huge success. And I'm so thrilled to be able to say that to you, because I know that many fairs across the nation over the course of the summer, not many, just 25 when there's usually thousands, but they held their events and people didn't go. So that was another major concern that we had. Were we going to spend all this money to put the event on and not have people attend? But they did. They came. They were grateful. You know, we had every now and then we'd have the naysayer that said, "Why are you doing this? This is not the thing you should be doing." But the reality is, we need to get back to business. I mean, there's absolutely no other thing that we can do. Is we have to have our businesses back and operating and up and running. And so it was very successful. We exceeded our expectations. We had more people than we anticipated. Our community behaved. They wore their masks, which made me so very, very proud, because I thought, this is going to be a real challenge. But people knew that in order for their lives to be able to have some sorts of normalcy, they knew they had to do what was expected of them to do. And that's the results that we saw. So we came off the fair with a good run, and now we are planning to do it again in May, because we're gluttons for punishment, I think. But we are going to do it so that we can keep our facility up and running. It's a big facility. It's an expensive operation, and we need to have the revenues coming in to do it. So
definitely. Yeah, I heard so much from Dennis, my CEO, just so you guys know, sits on the board of the fair. So he kept bringing me reports on how things were going. And I was happy to see that you had such a great response, both in terms of attendance and in terms of just participation and everybody behaving. That makes such a difference when you're doing a large event. I have a quick question for you, Vicki. I know I've been hearing about the fairgrounds being used as a site for vaccines and things like that. How has that affected your ability to actually hold your event and plan that at the same time?
Well, that actually just opened last week. So they're out in the parking area. They're in a very large tent in the parking lot. So we put them in a furthest away that we could. And so we're hoping it doesn't really have any impact on the operations. But that was a decision that obviously we made that in the best interest of the community. The county has been very, very supportive of the fair. Although we're not funded by the fair, by the county, a lot of people think that we are. We're a separate private 501c3 operation. And Dennis is the chairman of our board. So
that's right. Oh my gosh.
I do want to give him kudos for that. So,
and he's got the red jacket to prove it, just so you know.
So that hasn't really impacted us yet. And, we really wanted to support the county in that endeavor and make that land available.
Yeah, well, it's such a natural match for the mission, in my opinion. I think it's a very smart choice. And I think it's a good match for you guys too. Bring a lot of people out there who may not have visited the site in a while. So I'd like to open it up to the group for questions for Vicki. What questions do you guys have? You're welcome to just unmute yourself and speak up. No questions for Vicki? All right. Well, we may take some questions at the end too. So if you think of some later, you can chime in. Vicki, thank you so very much for your time, especially while you're on the road. I know it's hard to take time for this stuff, but we really appreciate it. And if you guys have any questions for Vicki later on, just let us know. And of course, you can always reach to her after this meeting as well. So thanks again, Vicki, for your expertise and your time. Okay, now let's hear from Noel Martinez. Noel is the president and CEO of the Palm Beach North Chamber, and they literally just finished their event this past weekend. I did go, Noel, I'll tell you, I went and had a wonderful time. It was a little bit windy, but gorgeous, and the artists were all so happy to be there. I heard an absolutely wonderful, like blues, New Orleans kind of band. I don't know who the heck they were, but they were great. So yeah, it was I loved it. So tell us, what did it look like from your perspective?
Well, first of all, I really appreciate you supporting the event. Thank you. It was a great weekend. We are still recovering. The event ended on Sunday, and as you can imagine, we put a lot of effort and work into it. But Great event. It was great. It's for those of you that don't know much about ArtiGras, I'm just gonna kind of give you a rundown. We just celebrated our 36th show. We just had our 36th show this weekend, and it is produced by the Palm Beach North Chamber of Commerce, as she mentioned. We're one of the top ranked art festivals in the country. Our event has an estimated $2.8 million economic impact. Typically, in a non-COVID year, we would get between 30 to 40,000 people that shop in our retail stores, stay in our hotels, restaurants, eat at our restaurants, and buy gas at our gas stations. So this is a very, very important event that we wanted to make sure that we produce for the North County region. So it's a 2-day event. It's a juried art show, so it's not easy to get in. Typically, we'll have around 350 artists. This year, we did just 250 to be able to really space out the events, excuse me. And we have over 11 different media categories, right? Everything from ceramic to sculpture to photography to mixed media, glass. I mean, when you think of art, we have it all at the festival. We have live music playing all day long, great food, and awesome food vendor area. And like most events, we have a fun VIP and hospitality area. Like everyone else, right? We had to overcome some major challenges. We'll talk about COVID next, but the first major challenge that we had to really handle was an issue that we had with road construction on our site. So the past 20 plus years, we have been in Abacoa Town Center, and it was basically like an extension of our home, right? We knew that site inside and out. And unfortunately, there was a county road project that we thought was going to get postponed and ended up didn't getting postponed, and it really, really affected the layout of the event. So we had to scramble about 6 weeks before the event. We had to find a new home, and we got very, very fortunate. We met with the city of Palm Beach Gardens for a crazy idea that I wanted. There was a location in Gardens that I wanted to go to, and the city manager absolutely convinced me on a new location, and I'm glad he did, because we ended up in the Gardens North County District Park, which is an unbelievable location. If you haven't been there, it's a bunch of soccer fields, huge parking lots, and it is just one of the most amazing county parks in our region. So let's talk a little bit about COVID-19. Like everyone else, right? We had to deal with this thing called COVID-19, and we really had to figure out, okay, how are we going to make this event work, right? We've got 30, 40,000 people that are going to come to this event in 2 days. We're going to have over 250 artists. How are we going to make this event safe? And like most people, I'm sure like Vicki did with her team, we had to put our volunteers, our employees, our vendors, right, to some certain training to make sure they know how to stay safe and keep our guests safe. The event is smaller, like I mentioned. Instead of 350 artists, we only had 250. We've got that new location, which was 3 times the size of our old location. So we're really able to spread the event out to give people room, bigger walking lanes, more room in between the booths, and just completely spread out. We required masks like everyone else. And like Vicki, we were very fortunate. We really didn't have many issues on getting people to wear their mask. I will say it was hot. It was a very hot weekend. And at times it was very, very tough to wear your mask. But for the most part, we really didn't have any major issues with that. Overall, we were really, really happy with the event. I mean, obviously it's not the numbers that we've had in the past, but we had great, great crowds. Our artists, this year's theme was for the love of art. And, that has a lot to do with a lot of different things, right? But, not only does the event fall on Valentine's Day, but, the love for arts and culture is so important. And our artists hadn't really been in a show in almost a year. I spoke to many artists throughout the weekend that this was the first show they've done since ArtiGras last year, which is crazy. And you can imagine what that does, what a tough year they've had to really make ends meet. So we're really, really proud to be able to put on a very quality show for them. Our sponsors were extremely happy. All the feedback that I got was that everyone felt that it was a safe, spread out, fun environment. We got tons of great PR. The Palm Beach Post wrote an amazing article on Sunday morning about how ArtiGras drew, masked artists and patrons and big crowds. And we were just really, really proud of it. So overall, great event. We're looking forward to do it again. We will be staying in Palm Beach Gardens next year. We're coming back It's going to be a bigger event. Hopefully we get this COVID thing behind us and we don't have any more issues with it next year and don't have to deal with COVID-19. But that's kind of the update of where we're at. I'd be more than happy to take any questions if anybody has any.
Well, thank you for that update, Noel. Yeah, from your lips to God's ears with that with that virus thing. Yes, 1 year is plenty. And I'm so happy to hear that you had a successful event. Here in this group, we are so thrilled when people bring us good news. So it's really nice to hear that you had a successful event. And I know I sat on the steering committee for this with Noel years ago. We were talking about it in our little rehearsal. And I know that one of the real keys, ArtiGras is it still in the top 50, Noel, or is it at a different number now?
Top 10.
Top 10. I thought that had
yeah.
changed. Okay, when I was there, it was in the top 50. Now it's in the top 10. You guys have no idea what a distinction that is. And one of the keys to elements of success for an event like this is the quality of the artist. So not only are they competing for the audience with other fine art shows like the one down in Coconut Grove, but they're also competing for the artists. Because if you don't get those really quality artists, then your show cannot maintain that standing. So I want to congratulate you, Noel, both on the success of your event overall and in particular this year. Congratulations. You and your team did an outstanding job.
Thank you, Kelly.
My pleasure. And thank you so much for joining us. It's great to see you again.
Good to see you.
Any questions for Noel from the group? See, they're all dazzled with your success.
I have a question. Did you do any type of hybrid piece to it to have a virtual component?
No, we talked about it,
Okay.
right? But we talked about possibly doing some sort of virtual art gallery and or maybe give our artists an opportunity to sell through this like virtual gallery. But to be honest with you, Michelle, it was really tough to pull this event off. And we had our hands full with trying to make this thing work and make sure we had a very successful event. Remember, we weren't just dealing with COVID-19. We were dealing with a completely new space, and we had to figure out parking and logistics. And I mean, it was just, there's a lot that goes into that stuff. But no, we did not. To answer your question, we did not do anything virtually this year.
Yeah, and in some ways you would be competing against your own event. So it's a tough balance, to strike there. Okay, great question, Michelle. I like that question. Anybody else have any questions for Noel before we let him listen to the rest of us? Okay, well, again, thank you, Noel, and congratulations on a very successful event.
Thank you.
Let's hear now from Bryce. Bryce, I'm going to learn how to golf someday. If you could golf in an hour and a half, it would be perfect. It just takes so long, and I have such a busy life. Tell me, what is going on in the big, big world of the Honda Classic? Speaking of happy sponsors, we like happy sponsors.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for having me. I've been in this group since it started in January. It's been a great resource for me. Got a couple good contacts out of it, but more than anything, just to help the industry as a whole. So I am going to share my screen here and kind of give you a little update on what we've got going on. So what I'm going to do first is give you guys, for those who haven't been, give you a glimpse into what it looks like in a normal year. And then we'll kind of talk about what we got going on for this year. So let's hope that this works how it should. So that is the Honda Classic in a normal year when we are able to welcome our over 200,000 fans through the course of the week. This year, we were able to break the 200,000 barrier again with 206,000. For those who don't know, we do operate as a 501c3 nonprofit. The PGA Tour as a whole is extremely focused on charitable giving in the communities in which our tournaments are held. Last year, we were very fortunate to raise $5.35 million, which in turn impacts about 91,000 kids and families in Palm Beach County. Nicholas Children's Hospital is our main beneficiary. Jack and Barbara are very involved with the tournament. Barbara is one of our honorary board members, and so they do receive quite a large chunk of that dollars. Birdies for Children, if there are any, I'm not sure if there's any nonprofit partners on here, but Birdies for Children is one of our main fundraising arms. What we do is we allow nonprofits to solicit funds on behalf of their own organization. They run it through our accounts, and we in turn make a 5% match to that. So for every $100 you raise, you're getting 105 back. A little bit on the economic impact of the tournament. For the second straight year, we accounted for 10,000 hotel rooms. Obviously, that number is going to decrease this year just based on the limited amount of fans we will have, but it does in turn generate about $62 million in local economic impact. A huge part of the draw of having a tournament here in Palm Beach County that is nationally televised is the 55 plus hours of television coverage on the Golf Channel and NBC. A lot of that during tournament play is 60 minutes directly dedicated to the city of Palm Beach Gardens and PGA National Resort and Spa. It's obviously a huge draw for PGA National. City of Gardens wants to have that. It showcases how great of a city the Gardens is and all the amenities that it has as a city. The broadcast itself reaches about a billion households worldwide and 227 countries, and it's broadcast in 23 languages. So it's not just here in the States. It's across the world. The game of golf is huge globally, and it's great that we can showcase our little slice of paradise here in Palm Beach Gardens with the world. A cool thing that we do as a partnership with Discover the Palm Beaches is the Honda Classic Live, and you'll see this year a little bit less, but in normal years we've got Josh Cohen from ESPN Radio going around and really showcasing all the action that is outside of the ropes. PGA Tour controls everything within the ropes, the players and the tournament play. We control everything outside, and so they'll be in our champagne lounge, our FPL patio, the bear trap, really just kind of showcasing all that there is to have at the tournament outside. But for this year, it is our 40th year as a tournament with Honda. It is the longest running partnership on the PGA Tour. Title sponsors can come and go, but Honda has been with us through thick and thin, and they're a great partner. And so we're extremely happy to celebrate our 40th year this year. If you haven't known, we slid into a new time slot and a date slot this year. Previous years, we were the beginning of the Florida Swing, and now we are at the tail end of it. Happens with Arnold Palmer Invitational, Players Championship up in Jacksonville, and then us on the 15th to 21st. It's our 15th year at PGA National Resort and Spa. They're a great partner. They're making a huge investment in the hotel right now, updating the rooms, but also going to look to expand the amenities at the hotel, which we plan to take full advantage of when that time comes. Redoing a couple of courses, implementing a new par 3 course that we're excited about, that we'll be able to have a sponsor value program for that. But for the tournament this year, 20% capacity is what we're going off of. That has been approved by the PGA Tour. That is kind of across the board with all of sports properties. The Dolphins were doing that same number. Same with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, was right around that same number. The reimagined hospitality plan is going to look similar but different, much more scaled back. The bear trap is what everyone keeps asking about. It is going to be reimagined. We are doing, instead of having one free flowing bar like there normally is, where you can go from the right side to the left side, we've had to implement zones. And the goal of that is essentially to control the capacity and control crowd flow, so there's not a bunch of clustering of people in one certain area of a structure. Same thing with our private hospitality. We've created zones of about 150 people. You can't intermingle between the zones. So if you've got a friend down at the other side of the Sky Suites, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to go down, see him on the grounds this time around. Thursday through Sunday, general admission. So we do have hospitality, private, shared, bear trap, but also general admission tickets if you just want to come and watch the action. Kind of going into how we got to this plan, we've been in constant communication with the City of Palm Beach Gardens, County Commission, the state government. We've talked to Governor DeSantis many times and presented our plan. And quite frankly, the PGA Tour is the one that is really controlling, what we can do. They are much more scaled back than what the state government allows. We are creating a bubble for essential personnel, which would be tournament staff, players, caddies, key volunteers, and key PGA National staff to ensure that those who are going to be closest to the players and the staff are going to be COVID cleared. We've been calls constantly with other tournaments from around the country. Waste Management out in Phoenix is one that everyone kind of points to as one of the big ones. We learned a lot from them, and we've taken a lot of what they did wrong and going to make sure we do it right. Like I said, crowd flow is the biggest thing. What happens if there's a big group? How do we control that to make sure that people are spaced out? And then also too, it's about doubling the space. Our whole guiding philosophy this year was less people, more space. I'll get in the weeds real quick. We are based off of square footage per person. So the bear trap in years past, right? There's 5,000 people up there. It gets pretty crowded. We've been working off about a 2 to 3 square foot per person calculation in the past. And this year we're upwards of 16 to 20 square feet. So making a massive amount more space to allow for social distancing and just really not clustering. Deep cleaning in all of our locations, whether it be open to the public, private, shared, hand sanitizers and PPE will be constantly available. Cleaning of high touch areas, restrooms, hand sanitizing stations will be cleaned constantly. And then another thing, just like ArtiGras, we are going to be requiring masks. When you're not actively eating or drinking, no, it's just the right thing to do. It's the smart thing to do. And we need to make sure that we're having a safe tournament. And come with that is our health and safety volunteer committee. We have a group of about 100 people that are going to be roaming around the tournament, just politely reminding you to please wear your mask when you're not eating or drinking. They're volunteers. So if you are there, please, respect them and just do the right thing and wear the mask. Revised F&B plan. So everything's going to be pretty much contactless, touchless, whether it be private or in our concession stands. Cashless tournament, everything's going to be digital. Same thing with our tickets. Our parking passes for the most part are all going to be digital as well. So everything's going to be a little bit different. And then our transportation too, if you've ever come on one of our preferred lots or our general admission lots, you get on a charter bus, about a 10-minute ride. We are limiting the capacity of those to about 50% and then sanitizing and cleaning them every single time we go through a trip. That is really the gist of the tournament. I'm happy to take any questions, but if you guys have a need for tickets or private hospitality for your corporate offices, please give me a call, shoot me an email. My information's on the screen. But again, thank you guys, and we're looking forward to having you all out of the tournament.
Well, great, Bryce. Thank you so much. It's really exciting to have Noel, who just finished his event, and you who are just going into yours. It's interesting from my point of view to watch. And I wish you a very successful event. It sounds like you have wonderful plans, and I'm sure you will have that. I do think it's interesting, and most people are really not aware of the philanthropic vastness and depth that this event has. And that's one of the things I've always liked about it. It really, and I have to really kind of encourage you, Bryce, to tell that story a little bit more, because I think a lot of people don't know that. And it is really important, since it is such a prestigious event, for people to understand that it has a responsibility as well.
Yeah, it's something that we try to focus on. It does get lost in the shuffle. When we do our Honda Classic Cares Week, which the Honda Classic Cares is our philanthropic arm of the tournament. When we do that, we try to do a great job of going to our nonprofits, doing big check presentations, trying to drum up the support and just the awareness that while you're at the tournament, you're drinking your beer, right, you're having a good time, you're ultimately giving back to the community. And that's our biggest mission. Our message is have fun, support the tournament, entertain your clients, but at the same time, don't forget why we're here. And it's to make an impact with children, mainly children and families in South Florida.
Exactly. I do have a question from one of the audience. Do you have an estimate of how many hotel room nights that would be utilized compared to the 10,000 last year?
Unfortunately,
You have a little magic ball you can consult?
If I could, I'd probably make a little more money than I am now doing this. No, unfortunately, I don't. No, we're seeing a good amount of travel from out of state. We've seen a steady increase of ticket purchasers and mainly hospitality, but also grounds passes that are not coming from, not in Palm Beach County, not in Florida. I don't have I can't extrapolate that out and give you a number, but it'll be much less, but I don't have an accurate number for you.
Well, maybe you can come back later on and give us a report. Let us know what you learned and how things went.
Once we run our numbers, and we'll do a nice little update here in the summertime.
Okay, that sounds awesome. Any other questions for Bryce?
Yes, I do. Hey, Bryce, my name is Carla Bryant. I'm with Palm Beach Drama Works, the new development director. And my question is kind of specific. I actually have been going to the Honda Classic every year. I'm a golfer, love it. My challenge, I will be honest with you this year about going, and I get the emails, the 4-day pass, and I get the discount and all that. It's great. I love that system. I'll be honest with you. My challenge is like when with crowd management. 2 years ago, Ricky Fowler hit a shot in the trees, and you know how the crowd gathers. We all have our iPhones out, and it's like, and then suddenly 1 million people come from nowhere because they know that it's a tight shot. And of course, he made it. He got on the green, and I was right there. I mean, I was like, 18 inches from the guy, right? Yeah. And so, it's that kind of excitement and experience, as a golfer, that you want to have, but also. It was all these people around. So when these golfers are having these kinds of shots, the natural thing to do is to gravitate, and crowd around them. I mean, how's that going to be managed?
So the big groups, we are going to have a little more focused on our volunteer committee that is going to ensure that kind of walking with them the entire time to remind people if that does happen to please space out. Like I said, in that moment, you really shouldn't be eating or drinking actively. So you should be wearing your mask. But overall, there's just not going to be as many people. And that's kind of what our message is when waste management was a good test run. And we will continue to learn from Arnold Palmer and the players as they come ahead of us in these coming weeks. But the biggest message was when those shots happen, there's just not as many people out there as you would think are going to be there. Even the big names, right? I mean, though it's not like you've got 30,000, 40,000 general admission fans that are out, right? You've got hospitality suites. You've got people that are kind of up in their little towers and hanging out and enjoying themselves. So we don't really expect that to happen all too much. We are kind of, like I said, going to take a lot of lessons from Arnold Palmer and the players and kind of see what they do. If it means increasing security or having some uniform officers out there, we fully plan to do that. But it's really going to be incumbent upon those that are coming here to respect the rules, be respectful of the players first and foremost. They're the only reason that we're here and we're out there. But we don't really foresee that happening too much. But like I said, we're going to learn a lot these next couple of weeks.
Okay, thanks.
Well, and it sounds like Noel had a really cooperative audience at his event, so we'll wish you the same blessing.
On that note, real quick, we've had a couple people say they don't want to come because they don't want to wear a mask, and quite frankly, I don't want them to come. If that's going to be the case, please don't come. We like to be respectful. We want everyone to have a good time. Everyone's got differing views, but this is a large event, and we're going to make it the safest we possibly can. So.
Sure, and these are the rules. Yeah, great. Well, we wish you much success, and I'm looking forward to hearing your wonderful story when you come back to us. So, if we don't have any other questions, I'd like to open up to self-introductions. Michelle is going to help us with that, but again, it's really important for me that you guys know who's on the call with you, because this is just the beginning. I really want you to connect outside of this event. Like I said, Kirby and I have had so many wonderful success stories about the work that's gone on here, developing legs outside the immediate meeting. So I love that. Michelle, if you would help with the self-introductions, I would so appreciate that. And I'm going to thank you in advance.
Sure thing. Okay. I am going to try to go alphabetically by first name. So you have an idea if you're going to be called on. All right. So the first person I'm going to ask to introduce yourself, please, is Ali.
Yes, good morning. My name is Ali Atmani. I'm the Director of Sales at the DoubleTree West Palm Beach Airport. We are one of the hotels near the airport, and we're one of the hotels that offer warm chocolate cookies upon checking in. All right, that's our signature cookie. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Ali. All right. Now I'm going to ask Caroline. Caroline.
Hello, everybody. My name is Caroline Frazier, and I'm with the Historical Society of Palm Beach County. We are a nonprofit. We have a museum right downtown in a little north of Clematis. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Danielle.
Hi everyone, my name is Danielle Spagnolo. I am the area sales manager for Vista Host Hotels. So I oversee the Home 2 Suites West Palm Beach Airport and also the Hampton Inn Fort Lauderdale Airport North Cruiseport. So if you need anything, please feel free to reach out.
Thank you. Felicia.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Felicia Goldstein. I work for Congresswoman Lois Frankel. Thank you. I always enjoy being on this and hearing, and very excited about the Honda Classic.
Thank you, Felicia. All right. I'm going to ask the very attractive woman with the Flagler Museum behind her. I don't have her name here, but you're next, please.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Lauren Perry, and I'm the Public Affairs Director at the Flagler Museum. We're really excited to hear about all the events and programs that you all are putting on. Congratulations, and good luck to the Honda Classic. We always like to see those golfers come through the museum as well. We are open, so please let your friends, family, colleagues, patrons know that we are also here, and thanks for sharing your presentations today.
Thank you. All right, Jim. All right, we're going to come back to Jim, and we're going to invite John.
Good morning, everyone. Sorry, my camera's not working. I'm John Kutcher with Palm Beach Tours and Transportation in Molly's Trolleys. I'm glad to be here with this Sartory family group. It seems like a lot of names up there. But anytime you think about ground transportation or shuttle services, etc., we were pleased to help out with the ArtiGras this week. They had bigger turnout than I think they expected a couple of times, and we had to add some more vehicles last minute, etc. So real pleased to have helped out as we could. So glad to be with everyone. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, John. All right. One of my favorite groups to lead is our YPOP Young Professionals group, who Marley is very active in before we went virtual. So Marley, good to see you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Marley Sartory. I'm the Director of Marketing and Communications here at the Palm Beach North Chamber. So I'm lucky enough to work under Noel, and I'm lucky to be married to Bryce. So happy to be here.
Excellent. All right. It's great to see you, Marley. All right. Okay. And now we're going to go to Michael.
Good morning. I'm Michael Corbett with Career Source Palm Beach County. And Laura, thanks for the update. Things are improving at the airport. That's good to hear and see. Noel and Marley, congratulations on a good event. And Bryce, good luck coming up in March with your tournament. Thanks for the update.
Thank you, Michael. Thanks for the kind words. All right. And Pam.
Hi, I'm Pam Sartory. I'm called the other two Sartorys, my children, my son and daughter-in-law. So I'm actually not even sure how I got this invitation this morning. It just randomly appeared. So I want to thank you, because I also, I'm the Director of Finance Administration at Roger Dean Chevrolet Stadium. And if you've watched the news today, you heard a lot of exciting news about spring training. Pitchers and catchers arrived today, position players next week, and we start our ticket sales on Friday. And we will be welcoming a 20% reduction in fans to our stadium, approximately 1,500 fans per game, 24 games starting on the 28th of February. So we're excited that baseball is back. And I also sit on a Leadership Palm Beach County Tourism Day. I'm in charge of that day for leadership. So I'm excited to know about this group, because I didn't know about you. So thank you.
All right. Well, I'm helping Kirby, so I'm glad you got an invitation. And I was going to tease you and say we made sure we reached out to every Sartory in the county, but that's honestly not the truth. So I'm glad you joined, and I'm glad you're here. All right. I'm looking at the screen. I want to make sure I didn't miss anyone. And Kirby is very good at catching if I miss somebody. Kirby, did I miss anyone?
Carla.
See, this is why we're a team, right? Just like Marley and Noel. All right. Marla, you said Marla? Carla. I'm so sorry. Carla. All right.
Yeah, I quickly introduced myself before. I am the new development director at Palm Beach Drama Works. Just want to remind you guys that we have moved online Monday evenings with our online performances. And oddly enough, we're hanging in there. We're doing okay in terms of donations, strong donor base. So our goal as FYI is to open in October of 2021. So
great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carla.
There are a few more. So Neil.
Hi there. I'm Neil Siskins. My company is Nightlight Vacations and Management. I do vacation property management. Some people call it Airbnb management or short-term property management, and related concierge services when requested. And I also do longer-term regular property management for annual properties. All of it's related to residential properties.
All right. Well, thanks. And then Willie.
Good morning. I too was surprised with this invitation today. So this is my first meeting with you guys. Thank you for inviting me. It was very informative. I am the owner of Game On Race Events based in Jupiter. We put on triathlons and running events throughout the state of Florida. But in Palm Beach County, we have a Singer Island venue for Run Singer Island for a half marathon and 10K, as well as Singer Island for a couple other races. And we put on the Bilbone Tropical Triathlon in Lake Worth. This March 7th, we are the new owners of the Marathon of the Treasure Coast, which is actually in Stewart, but it's a big event. So the information about crowd control is what I was most interested in, because in 2 weeks, we're gonna have, much smaller scale, only like 1,000 people or maybe 1,000 to 2,000 people at the Marathon of the Treasure Coast. So, but we had been fortunate enough in 2020 to figure out a COVID-19 policy and have our small 200 to 500 people events. We had 10 events in 2020 between July and December. So we're happy about that, and always happy to learn more. But thank you for the invitation.
Thank you. And I did promise that we would come back to Jim. So Jim, are you able to unmute? Perhaps not. Okay. All right, go ahead, Kelly.
Okay, well,
good.
Thank you. And for those of you who don't know Michelle, this is Michelle Socker. She is our event and sponsorship director here at the Chamber. So if you ever have any questions about any of that stuff here, be sure and reach out to her. And then Kirby, my fabulous, wonderful assistant who is joining us from freezing cold Texas, we have to give her a special thank you, thank you, thank you. Also, we did have a very specific question from John regarding a transportation question. So John, we will link you back with Laura so we can be sure we get you the answer to that. I want you guys to mark your calendar for Wednesday, March 17th. That will be our next meeting. We're going to have an update from the Palm Beach County Convention Center, the Kravis Center, the Norton Museum, and we'll have a couple of others as well to bring us some additional information on what's going on. Also, we have an event tomorrow morning here at the Chamber, of Business Builder, which is an overview of everything we do. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more about some of the other programs that we have here at the Chamber, please join us for that. It's at 9 a.m. and it is a virtual event. So once again, I want to thank you, especially our speakers. Thank you very much. I know how how busy you all are, and I appreciate you taking the time to meet with us here today. And again, this meeting is recorded, so you can look at the slides again. There was an awful lot of information shared here this morning, so I would encourage you to do that. And also feel free to share the recording with anybody that you think would benefit from that knowledge. And remember, this is a tourism task force. If you know anybody in the tourism and hospitality industry locally who would like to get involved in these meetings, we welcome them, whether they're members of our chamber or not. This is a community effort and we need everybody's help. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart for you being here this morning. Please have a safe and healthy day, and we will see you on March 17th. Thank everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you so much. Noel, great to see you. Bye, everybody. Take care. You guys stay on for a quick sec.
Okay.
Okay, Kirby girl, what's going on with you? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. How's your dad?
He's doing really well. He is up walking around and
Okay. Praise God.
It's gonna be a whole process, but he's getting there.
Okay, good. I'm so glad.
How's your mom doing with everything?
She's good. So my grandparents are here as well, so they're helping out. So
Your mom's parents or your dad's parents?
my mom.
Good.
Nice. Good. So she's got lots of support morally and all in all ways, because moral support is great, but you also need somebody to help with the dishes.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, gosh, you guys, thank you very much. I think this went really well. Michelle, good God, thank you so much for your help, for stepping in the crisis management role.
Well, I apologize. God only knows. I do have the list. I did download the list on purpose of who I sent the emails today that Kirby asked from the group. I may have pulled, it did say tourism task force, but I may have pulled
hey, whatever, it was great.
We'll figure it out.
There are a few lists in there, but I am glad people came. And
oh yeah.
That's why that master list. So, and I send it to them every time. So maybe they just are a new role in that, or just are finally catching up on their emails. Who knows?
Well, yeah. Right? And I think what's happening too is that some people are forwarding on the invitations. I think that's what's happening, which is good. And that's why I wanted to mention it. You know, gosh, we want more people in the industry. You know, it doesn't matter whether they're members or not members. You know, this is a community effort. And I really wanted Noel to hear that too, because I'm more than happy for Noel to come back, you know, if he wants to. If all of the chambers wanted to participate, that would be absolutely great. But anyway, I think it went really well. And I so appreciate your help, guys. But I think everybody did a nice job. They got some good information. You see, Michelle, they are a really good group. They ask good questions.
Yeah. I hope my question wasn't offensive to.
Oh, no, not
I really wanted to know, because this is our hot topic at every meeting we have at our chamber.
And everybody on this call, almost everybody on the call, is involved in meetings in one form or another.
Okay.
You know, whether they're tours of their museum, which is a meeting, you know, it's a group of people meeting in one place, or whether it's, you know, people using their hotel lobbies. So no, I think, and they're all struggling with the same problem, which is the same problems, which is one of the things that's made this group work so well. So when we bring the airport person, every single person in the group is interested. It's not just, you know, a small part.
Exactly.
That's why you'll notice after I read what's his face, John's question carefully, I decided not to even introduce it to the group. It's so specific.
Me too. I saw it too, and I made it. I thought I knew you saw it because you saw the previous question or the following, and I thought, I feel like this is too specific, and I'm not going to ask it. So
yeah, and I don't want to encourage that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to encourage people using this meeting as a place to accomplish, you know, their task agenda for the day. So, but I think it went really well. We had a good group, and I think everybody enjoyed it. So that was great. Thank you very much. So Kirby, you need to go back and have breakfast now with your family, you know, because remember, Michelle, it is an hour earlier there. So
goodness.
Yeah, so it's so she's been up a little bit earlier. Wow. So thank you. So go enjoy your family, and we'll see you when you get home. And, and build a little snowman.
I plan to.
Okay, or a snow woman.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Okay,
well, thank you very much, Kirby. And I think you're done pretty much. We don't have anything else going on. So we've got exec at noon, but I think we got the
And
business builder in the morning.
I know how to edit this and get this posted if we want. I'll work with
That would be
Adriana.
great.
So
Thank
I'll
you.
edit it for her to save her time and then just ask her to post it.
That would be awesome.
Okay.
Hopefully there's not too much to edit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting
Well,
so much
like
better
this
at that.
end part. Oh, did we stop recording? No, shoot.
So
It's
we'll
okay. I'll add. It's so easy to edit. It's not a big deal. So
Okay.
yeah.
And Kirby, you don't have to do the business builder tomorrow.